let's think and learn about poetry. Let's think. What kind of characteristics am I going to find in a poem? What kind of characteristics am I going to find in a poem that help me know, oh, okay, I'm reading a poem. Grace, what's a characteristic I'm going to find in a poem that's going to help me know, okay, I'm reading a poem?
Most poems have rhyming words.
Rhyming words, right? So I'm not gonna say has rhyming words. I'm gonna say can rhyme. Because remember, we do have our free verse poems that actually don't rhyme. So not necessarily all of them are gonna have rhyming words, but most of them do. So I'm gonna say can have rhyming words. Okay, can have rhyming words. What's another characteristic of a poem, Aiden?
A poem also has lines and stanzas.
Okay, a poem has lines and stanzas. Michael, what's another characteristic of a poem?
The poem has rhyming words and
okay. What else did I say? Poems are usually
short.
Short, right? Poems are usually short. They usually are not very long. They're usually something you can read in about 5 minutes. A poem, please stop yourself. A poem is also just like fiction, and that's why we know a poem is fiction, that it belongs in the fiction category. It is written to entertain, okay? Poems are written to entertain, and remember, entertain is enjoy. So our authors write our poems to entertain us, for us to enjoy them. Poems also express thoughts and feelings. So they also can express different kinds of thoughts and feelings to us. Something that maybe a story or an article that we might read might not be able to do in a way that a poem can. So it might be a little bit different. And then the last thing is, poems create a picture in your head, okay? So when you're reading a poem, so like when we were reading our bats poem, you could picture those bats flying around and eating those mosquitoes, right? When it was talking about like, they're out, they're ready to eat, they enjoy mosquitoes before they retreat. And then they even talked about echolocation, is when bats are bouncing off echoes off of prey so they can go get them. And in my head, I'm literally picturing these bats flying around. I'm picturing these bats flying around, swooping up and eating all these mosquitoes, right? So poems are really good at creating pictures in our head. Okay, and then the last thing is poems have, there's 4 different types of poems, right? Y'all remember what they are? Do you remember what our different types of poems are? Can someone name one of them? Emily, actually, you named one. What's one of them?
Narrative.
Narrative. Which we know narrative is a story. I said one of them earlier, Ollie.
Humorous.
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 And we know this means funny / silly. Okay, we have two more. Walter?
Free verse.
Free verse. So this one has no rules. And then what's the last one, Bella?
Lyrics.
Lyrical. And we know this one is like a song. So we have different types of poems, right? There's ones that create a story. There's ones that are funny or silly. There's ones with no rules. They do whatever they want. And then there's ones that are like a song. So these are different characteristics of poetry. So when you're looking at poems, these are going to be the different kinds of characteristics in a poem that you're going to look for. So if you can get out your reading journals real quick, Miss
Chandler,
Yes.
I can't see the bottom of the types of poems.
Here, hold on, I'll move it up. Is that better? Yes, Annette.
I don't have my reading journal. I'm at the doctor.
Okay, well, then just do the best you can. Just don't write anything down then.
Do we have to write this down?
Yes, please.
Are you going to do a reading activity?
Reading journal. Reading journal.
We're supposed to copy this?
No. Hold on, I'll tell you what to write in 1 minute. I'm leaving the folder up so Holly can finish copying it because I know she was writing it down. Yes, Aiden.
Do we have to write it down?
So yesterday when we did the fiction thing, the fiction thing like that, fiction folder, I actually went to the restroom for like a long time, so I didn't know what to write.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so I'm going to show you. So we're going to kind of do the same thing we did for the fiction yesterday, but we're going to do it for poetry. Okay, so in your reading journal, okay, you are going to write poetry. And then I'm going to give you a sentence stem, just like I did with fiction. This is a poem because and then we're not actually going to do I'm going to give you, we're going to do one example right now together just because you're not going to be reading poems during independent reading because we don't have a lot of poems to choose from on Epic. So I want to give you an example, and then during independent reading, I'm probably going to have you do fiction, okay? So an example might be, this is a poem because it has rhyming words and stanzas. Okay? Has rhyming words and stanzas. Has rhyming words and stanzas. So that would be my example if I was going to use that sentence stem. So then we're going to write a few of our characteristics that we look for. We look for rhyming words, lines, and stanzas. And I'm actually going to put a star by this one because that lines and stanzas is probably the biggest one. Because most, if not all of your poems are going to have some type of lines and stanzas. When you look at lines and stanzas, though, if it doesn't have lines and stanzas, it could be that it's just one big stanza. But if it's just one big stanza, then it's going to be short, okay? So lines and stanzas is pretty big because normally most of your poems are gonna have stanzas.
Miss Chandler.
Yes.
So most likely for a free verse not to have stanzas, correct?
Most likely, say that one more time.
That a free verse won't have stanzas.
Yes. It's very rare, though, I would say, that a poem doesn't have a stanza. And it's not something you're going to see in 3rd grade. I would say that's probably something you might see in 4th or 5th. But you probably wouldn't see it in 3rd grade. Yes, Camila?
Can you put the other first paper back up?
Here, I can try and, let me see if I can scoot this over and then add it to this. Hold on.
Written to
Might
what?
not fit. Camila, which part do you need? The top or the bottom?
I could eat both.
Ooh, okay, well here, let me give you the top and then I'll give you the bottom. Because it's gonna take up most of the screen is the problem.
Okay.
Let me figure out how I want to do this. I'm trying to figure out, can I put it sideways? Can you read it if it's sideways? Okay, so I'm like, I don't think I can get it to fit. The folder is just very large, very, very large. All right, all right.
Miss Chandler, what
Yes.
time is it?
Huh?
What time is it?
You're copying this. You're copying what I'm writing.
I'm done.
I can't see the very last word.
In what?
On the poem thing. And there you go.
Got it?
Miss Chandler,
Yes.
your mic sounds low. I can't hear you good.
Okay, it might be, I don't know, it might be you because I think everybody else can hear me.
I turned mine up.
Okay, we'll give it a few minutes and see if it changes.
All right.
All right. Okay, so once you're done with this, what we're gonna do is, for independent reading, I'm gonna have you read on Epic, and I want you to use our fiction, okay, because we're not going to do poetry because we don't really have any poetry necessarily on Epic to read. So instead, we're going to do fiction. And I want you to use, I don't know if you can see it, our fiction sentence stem from yesterday. So I want you to use our this is fiction because, and I want you to find different fiction stories. And then you're going to tell me why it's fiction. Okay? So we're going to practice fiction again today, just because we don't have a ton of poems on Epic, so I'll have us practice fiction. So you're going to be doing the same thing as yesterday.
But Miss Chandler?
I know, Aiden. I'll tell you in a second. Hold on. I'll tell you in a second. I'm going to flip to the fiction page in 1 minute. Let me let everybody else finish poetry.
And also please spell song.
I know a book that's full of poems on Epic.
Okay. What's it called, Walter?
Huh?
What's it called?
Garvey's Choice. It's I'll type in the chat.
Okay.
I have a book with a lot of poems as well.
Awesome. Well, if you've been able to find a book with lots of poetry, if you've been able to find a book with lots of poems in it on Epic, you can definitely do this and do this is a poem because. Okay? If you found a book with lots of poetry in it on Epic, you are more than welcome to read that. Go quick, Bella. Okay? So if you found a poem on Epic with lots of poetry in it, so look, I'll send you this one. I'm going to send everybody this one. This is the one Walter found. So if y'all want to read this one, you can. If you would like to read poetry, you don't have to. But that's one of the books he found that has poetry in it. All right. When you are done, copy